Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the motion by Rudy Giuliani's lawyers to withdraw from representing him. So first, let me set this in context. When a lawyer accepts a representation, she or he takes on real responsibilities to a client, to the court, and just stepping aside can be a very dislocating move, something that lawyers generally have an obligation not to do. You're there and you're there for the long run unless you've made a specific arrangement with the client in advance, and those are in specific kinds of cases. So this motion by Kenneth Caruso, Giuliani's lawyer in the whole bankruptcy case, really speaks volumes, even though those volumes have been largely redacted. He came in and asked the court, Judge Lyman, to relieve him of his duties and has to cite the professional rules that permit that to happen. And Lyman doesn't even have to accept it. And if he does, it could occasion some delays. But the big point is, Giuliani has gone so far, has so exploited the justice system, has so lawlessly kept the plaintiffs from gaining the relief to which they are entitled, and now wants to go apparently even further in a way that his lawyer believes would actually violate the lawyer's duties of professional responsibility. Okay, we have a motion to withdraw that's a little more than 3 pages, and all the real sort of guts of it explaining why they have to step aside has been redacted. They wanted to file it under seal completely, and Lyman refused to do that, but did redact quite a lot of material, 4 paragraphs that come right in the center. But before those 4 paragraphs, the lawyer says, here's why I have good grounds. A lawyer may withdraw from representing a client when, and there are 7 situations laid out. He doesn't start with 1, 2, or 3, but goes right to 4. The client insists upon taking action with which the lawyer has a fundamental disagreement, or the client, and now we have 6 and 7, insists upon presenting a claim or defense that is not warranted under existing law and cannot be supported by good faith argument, or he fails to cooperate in the representation or otherwise renders the representation unreasonably difficult. So take that legal language and put it in the English translation machine, and what's happening is Giuliani wants to press some kind of claim or some kind of argument that the law just doesn't support, or possibly, and consistent with the way he's behaved to date, just wants to thumb his nose at the law, wants to say, come and find me, has already violated court orders because he was told to make his property available, including all his supposedly valuable keepsakes in his big New York condo. And when the plaintiffs arrived there, they found that it had been emptied out. He basically, for 3 years, the former United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, the former America's mayor, has been acting not just like an outlaw, but the sort of shiftiest and sleaziest of outlaws, just doing anything he can to bob and weave and hide and frustrate the court and the law. And when it comes to a point where the lawyers say, we just can't do this anymore. I mean, they clearly advise Giuliani, Rudy, apparently you want to do X and Y. Guess what? The law doesn't support it. I can't do it in good faith. Lawyers are not permitted to either suborn perjury or make representations to the court that, in fact, would not be supported by a good faith agreement. And that's very widely interpreted. I mean, almost anything goes, and Giuliani at this point is well beyond the almost anything. So you now have even his lawyers, the last kind of defenders, having parted company with Giuliani and having petitioned the court, let us out of here because this guy is such a bad faith defendant that he's insisting on taking action that would just be a violation of our ethical duties. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky situation for Lyman. As I say, he can order them to stay in the case, of course, avoiding any kind of improper argument, which is just completely off the reservation. He can order them, but that is a situation that is very hard to just oversee and administer, and that gives Giuliani perhaps an opening to make a claim down the line that he was disturbed by his lawyers. That doesn't really seem to be what's up. You see that kind of posture in with criminal defendants who want to make certain arguments and then counsel don't want to. But here it's just a fundamental disagreement where Giuliani is pushing them hard to do something that, the lawyer has a fundamental disagreement with, or a claim in defense that is just not warranted. So we have Giuliani just firmly outside of the law, which gives very wide berth to a lawyer to make any kind of good faith argument. And here he is pushing on them really to do things that are just without any justification. So this is the next step. If Lyman accepts the motion, he's got to bring in a new lawyer, does Giuliani. That might occasion some delay, or maybe Lyman won't stand for it. He'd already come to the point where he told Giuliani to appear personally, and he said, we are turning over these things and right away. So I think in any event, you won't have Lyman countenancing any kind of further delay of more than a brief few days to deliver property and justice to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. But parting company in this way with clients who petition the court to get out of representing him, that reveals an orientation of Giuliani that's just outside of the boundaries of the law and confirms his status as basically a scofflaw who is just operating outside the wide bounds of the law. And it really has almost certainly not a leg to stand on for actions he's pushing his lawyers to undertake that seem to have no good faith basis at all. So yet one more step of outrage on Giuliani's part, and possibly a very brief delay, but we are at the end of the road with Lyman, whether or not he lets Giuliani's lawyer out of representing him. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.